Hey guys, so we've been on this journey for the last couple of weeks, and we're working our way through the book Song of Solomon as we're looking to Solomon, one of the wisest men who ever lived. We're looking to his advice and how we can thrive inside of our relationships. Because, call me naive if you want to, but I just believe that every marriage, every relationship doesn't have to just survive, it can thrive. It doesn't have to just be ordinary. It can be extraordinary. And I believe that with all of my heart. And so that's the reason why we're walking through this. And so today we're in Song of Solomon chapter 2. Last week we finished chapter 1. Today we're in chapter 2. And there are just several things I think that we see in here that are so important that I want to pull out today. And so we'll start reading Song of Solomon 2. I am a wildflower of Sharon, a lily of the valleys, she says. And then the man responds, like a lily among thorns, so is my darling among the young women. And then she responds back, like an apricot tree among the trees of the forest, so is my love among the young men. I delight to sit in his shade, and his fruit is sweet to my taste. He brought me to the banquet hall, and he looked on me with love, sustained me with raisins, refresh me with apricots, for I am lovesick. May his left hand be under my head and his right arm embrace me. Young women of Jerusalem, I charge you by the gazelles and the wild does of the field, do not stir up or awaken love until the appropriate time. You see, the woman in this relationship starts out this chapter by saying, I'm no more important than anybody else. I don't stand out. I'm just one of thousands in a field. She's humble, she's modest, but maybe she's also struggling in this moment with not knowing how valuable she is, with not understanding how the Lord sees her and how valuable and unique she is in the eyes of the Lord. And every woman should know that they are so valuable because they're a daughter of the King, but also they should know that they're valuable to the man that they're in a relationship with. And so her husband responds back and lets her know, hey, you're actually like a lily among thorns. And what he wants her to believe is that she does stand out to him, that she is a place of safety for him, surrounded by danger, that she is valuable to him. And men, we have got to let our wives know, our spouses know, the women that are in our life, we have to let them know that they matter to us, that they're valuable to us, that they're valuable to our Heavenly Father as well. We got to let them know that we see them and that they stand out to us. And so she responds back to him. And she lets him know that she's comfortable around him, that she is safe around him. An apricot tree is a tree that would have provided pleasant shade and refreshing food. And so she's letting the man in this relationship know that I feel protected by you, that I feel refreshed by you. And my hope is for every woman in every relationship that they would feel that way about their spouse, that they would feel safe and protected and refreshed, and that every man would be so life-giving to his spouse that his spouse would desire to be around him constantly because they bring her so much life. She also says that he brings her to the banquet hall in other words, he is very public about his love for her. He's open, he's honest. He wants people to know that, hey, she's mine, she's with me. I love her. I want everybody to know it because I care about her, and she's so important to me, and she's so valuable to me, and she's so beautiful to me that I want everybody to know them, right? And as honest as I can be with you guys, I hate PDA. I mean, my wife loves it. She loves holding hands. She loves hugging. She loves kissing in public. And I'm just not about that life, right? And however, you know what makes my wife feel so loved and so valuable is when I reach over in the grocery store line to her hand and I grab her hand. When I give her a kiss on the forehead, or when I give her a hug when we're standing in line together, those things make her feel like, you know what, he is proud of me. He wants people to know that I'm with him. And our wives should know that we are proud of them, that we want people to know that they're with us. They should know that. And so does your spouse know that? And then she goes on to talk about how much she wants to be physically intimate with him, that raisins and apricots are aphrodisiacs and they increase your chance for kids. So it's obvious that she wants to have sex with him. She wants to have kids with him. She wants to be physically intimate. But then she says, Don't stir up or awaken love until it's the right time. In other words, physical intimacy, sex is a gift from God, but not when it's done out of God's proper boundaries. It's kind of like a fire. You set a fire inside of a fireplace on a cold night in your house, or around a fire pit when you want to get warm, but you also want to just enjoy some company and enjoy some s'mores. That fire is beautiful. It provides warmth. It provides food. It provides the ability to do some of those things and have s'mores. It provides the ability to have community around, right? It provides some of those things. But if a fire gets outside of those boundaries, if it gets outside of the boundaries of a fireplace or a fire pit, it can become destructive. It can become dangerous because it's not in the boundaries that it was intended to be in. And our physical intimacy is that exact same way. It's a gift from God. And inside the right boundaries, it's beautiful. It provides warmth. It provides lots of things. But outside of the proper boundaries, it can be dangerous and it can be destructive. And then it goes on to say this in the Song of Solomon 2. Listen, my love is approaching. Look, here she comes. Here he comes. Leaping over the mountains, bounding over the hills. My love is like a gazelle or a young stag. See, he's standing behind our wall, gazing through the windows, peering through the lattice. My love calls to me, she says. And then he says, arise, my darling, come away, my beautiful one. For now the winter is past, the rain is ended and gone away. The blossoms appear in the countryside. The time of singing has come, and the turtle dove's cooing is heard in our land. The fig tree ripens its figs. The blossoming vines give off their fragrance. Arise, my darling, he says. Come away, my beautiful one. My dove in the clefts of the rock and the crevices of the cliff. Let me see your face. Let me hear your voice. For your voice is sweet and your face is lovely. She says, catch the foxes for us, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards. Catch them, for our vineyards are in bloom. My love is mine and I am his, she says. He feeds among the lilies until the day breaks and the shadows flee. Turn around, my love, and be like a gazelle or a young stag on the divided mountains. You see, one of the things that has to happen inside of every relationship, inside of every marriage that we've seen consistently over the first couple of chapters in the Song of Solomon is that you have to be willing to spend time together. Time together is a must. Time together is something that has to happen inside of any relationships, and you can't communicate well unless you're willing to take time to be together. One of the things I heard recently was that in every marriage, you should have daily connection, weekly dating, and retreating annually. In other words, every day you should have 15 to 30 minutes where you just connect with each other and have some intentional time together to talk about your day or what's on your mind or your heart. Every week, you should have a date with the two of you to get away and spend intentional time together. And then every year, retreat with just the two of you to get refreshed, to dream, to think, to plan, to do all of those things. And those things are so important. If you do those things, daily connection, weekly dating, retreating annually, your marriage will have a lot better chance of thriving. But one of the things that we talked about in there is weekly dating. And dating is so important inside of marriage. And unfortunately, most dating inside of marriages stops the moment that we say I do. Because we think, I've already got her, I've already got him, we're married, we're not going to date, we have kids, we can't date, right? And so we have got to, if we want our marriages to thrive, we got to be willing to keep dating our spouse. So what is a date? Right? What's the purpose of a date inside of a marriage? Well, a date is something that you do for edification and observation, to build up each other, to build up your relationship, and to observe things about each other. What should exist in every marriage is that we should build up our spouses and we should be students of our spouses. We should learn about them. We should always be learning something new about the person we're in a relationship with. And that's what a date is for, to build each other up and to learn more about each other. So I wanted to just talk through a couple of things that I think we see through the rest of chapter 2 that dating should really encompass. And so what do we see? We see that dating is something that should increase our desire for each other. As you date, your desire for each other should increase. Your desire to be with each other should increase. Dating should also be fun and delightful. We see in chapter 2, verses 10 through 13, that dating should be fun. It should be delightful. Every marriage should have some time where you're best friends, where you're doing life side by side, where you're enjoying each other, where you're having fun, where you're doing things that we both enjoy, because fun is a requirement for every marriage that is thriving. This is called our side-to-side time. Also, dating should allow for face-to-face time, intentional conversation, looking at each other in the eyes, being face-to-face. Dating should deepen your trust for each other. Dating is a time where you can have conversations about your past and about your background, where you can be honest and open about whatever your heart is feeling, whatever you're thinking in the moment, whatever your mind is thinking. If you've had hurts, dating is the place where you can talk about hopes and dreams for the future, where you can talk about wounds that are deep, scars and insecurities. Dating should deepen our trust. Dating should also make you feel safe and protected. She says in there to catch the foxes that are for us, that are in the vineyards, that are ruining the vineyards, that are hindering you. Part of every relationship that has to happen is we've got to protect our relationship. I read a book called What Radical Husbands Do. And one of the stories in that book is there's a story about the leader of an army who they get to an island and they're going to fight the people who are inhabiting the island. And they're trying to take it from them. And what he makes all of his men do is he makes them, after they get on land, he makes them torch their ships and burn their ships. Because what he believed was that if there was no way for them to escape, they would fight harder. Because they knew that there was no other way to get off the island. They just had to win. If not, they were going to be killed. And so they would fight harder if they burned the ships. And so one of the things that we've got to be willing to do inside of our marriages, we have to be willing to burn the ships. In other words, we have to be willing to get rid of anything that could potentially hinder our relationship with our spouse or could give us a way out of our relationship. We have to burn the ships. We have to get rid of those things that are tempting us consistently in our marriage. We got to get rid of them. Dating should also make you grow. Right? Our love for each other should grow. Our trust, our respect should grow as a result of dating. Dating should also be a way that you continue to pursue and grow in knowledge. You got to learn and grow and pursue. That's what dating is all about, is pursuing your spouse. And then dating should lead to passion growing. Physical intimacy is an important part of every marriage. And so if you have side-to-side time where you're having fun and you have face-to-face time where you're intentionally locking in and engaging and having conversations with each other, you're going to have belly button to belly button time. You're going to have some physical intimacy, and your desire and your passion for each other is going to grow. I learned that in Craig Groeschel's book, Side-by-Side Time plus face-to-face time equals belly button to belly button time. And that's the reality. Our passion for each other should grow. So here's my question for you as we end today. What do you need to do this week to make sure that you're connecting daily, you're dating weekly, and you're retreating annually? And then my challenge for you is this: go ahead and make a plan today. Go ahead and make a plan for how you're going to go on a date this week with your spouse. Go ahead and make a plan of how you're going to connect daily with your spouse. Go ahead and make a plan for how you're going to retreat annually with your spouse. And then go ahead and execute that and make it happen this week. I love you guys. I believe that your marriage doesn't have to just survive. It really can thrive.